Closed captioning is brought to you by Insect Defend Patch. Deep-free protection from biting insects.
Here at the Kiwanis Walleye World event, they take catch and release fishing very seriously. You can see that they have the actual very large tank here that's serving two purposes. But what I like to see, and a lot of the people are looking at it, are the walleyes that have been entered and the pike. So you can see that they're allowed to recuperate here, and then they put them in tanks where they have even more aeration, and then eventually they're released back into the Bay of Quinte. Now this tank is also used for professional seminars. Jim McLaughlin's here. I'll be speaking a little bit later on. And they also have other events. They have a Canadian sport fishing simulator where people, especially kids, can enjoy fighting fish, where they can see the fish on video and actually feel the fish pull and tug. And then there's also a climbing wall. So there's lots of activities to do here, but of course the highlight is seeing the fishermen weigh in the big fish.
I'd like to welcome you to the city of Belleville today and Canadian sport fishing. And some of the people around here call Belleville the walleye capital of Canada. And when you look at the great fishing in the show here today, you can see why that we've been able to be tagged with that title. And when you look at the beautiful water and all the fish being caught in this tournament, I invite you to come to the city of Belleville and cast your line. It's fishing 12 months a year, and there's some great catches and some great stories to be told.
Now, Gary, how did you get into fishing? Did you have a mentor? Did you have a dad, a grandpa?
I did. It was my dad. My dad taught me everything.
I met your dad.
You
on the Ganaraska River, steelheading.
Yeah. Oh, there's a fish.
Good. Double header.
Yeah. Yeah, you taught me everything I know. And it's like...
How old were you? Do you
I was
remember?
a young guy.
Like we're talking 5,
As a little
10?
guy. Probably started when I was 5 or so. And just going up north camping at the cottage and stuff every weekend.
Good. Now, you know, I know you fish a lot, taking people out, and you also have another job, you know.
Yep.
You have a part-time job, and then you fish full-time,
Exactly.
Right? Do you still get a chance to fish with your dad?
I do. And interestingly enough, he's in the Kiwanis Derby.
Good.
Barb's got a fish.
Barb, triple header.
Very
yes.
He's in the Kiwanis Derby.
That's awesome.
This year, so he's
You'll
out
have to
having
call
fun.
him to see how he's doing, so we time weigh-in whenever he has to go to Trenton, though. Hopefully.
Absolutely.
There he is.
This is fun, eh, Barb?
It is nice.
Bring him over here. We'll give Gary a break.
Okay.
I'll release mine. Now, you might be saying to yourself, what are they doing? You know, they're supposed to be professional fishermen. They're catching small walleye. Well, you know what? This is what's down there. So there's so many walleyes down here. And I said to Gary earlier, I think a lot of these juvenile walleyes are actually moving out of the bay, and they're working their way down to the deeper reaches and eventually out to the St. Lawrence and Lake Ontario. And that's where they really put on the beef. So it's a numbers thing. It's kind of like when you get into steelhead or any other fish or jumbo perch.
Yeah, working through them.
You got to go through them, and then you get the 3-pounders, 4-pounders, or even bigger. Some of the 10-pounders plus that the guys are going to need to catch if they want to win the Kiwanis event. So one thing, Barb asked me if I thought a lot of the people here fishing are in Kiwanis, the Walleye World competition. And Gary said that just look for the dark hats. So I guess they get a hat when they enter?
Absolutely.
And they've been wearing it?
Yep.
Have you noticed any hats here around us?
Lots of hats.
Okay,
Absolutely.
good. This is good. Because I know their numbers are somewhere like 5,000 that they get in it in 2 days every
That's
year.
Amazing.
So I believe it's the largest competitive fishing event over 2 days to get that many people. There's lots of bass tournaments, you know, with 100 boats, but
Sure.
5,000.
That's crazy.
And I could did you notice all the trailers this morning?
It was pretty busy.
They got I like the guys in the water with the waders.
That's right, helping
you know,
guys
helping
out.
with the boats.
Yep.
And then Barb, you had to park like 2-3 blocks away.
Yes, I did.
So I wonder what the town people think when they see all these
Sure
crazy...
but they like it.
Hey, they got to buy food
Sure.
and gas and stuff,
Brings
right?
revenue
Place
to
sleep.
to the area, yeah.
If you are planning to bottom bounce using a worm harness and a bottom walking sinker, the type and diameter of line that you use is very important. What I'm holding up in my hand on the right, this is a braided line, and you can see that it's 50-pound test, 15-pound test, but the diameter is the diameter equivalent of 4-pound monofilament. So it has a very low diameter. So what that means is that I've got a strong line and it's going to drop very quickly down. And when you are using worm harnesses, it's important, especially with the bottom walking sinker, to try to keep your line as vertical as possible. So you're only contacting the bottom and not getting hung up. The further your line goes back, the more you have a chance of getting hung up. Now the titanium braid is not clear. So what we do is, especially in clear water like here in the Bay of Quinte, we use our fluorocarbon leader to attach onto the main line from our braid and go all the way down about 4 or 5 feet, and then we put a snap on it. So we put a snap there so that we can either use a crankbait if we're going to be trolling, or we can add our bottom walking sinker and then our leader that's again fluorocarbon anywhere from 36 to 40 inches with our harness. Okay, so these two lines are really important. Now let me tell you a little bit about the fishing outfits that we're using, because they're not your traditional casting, spinning outfits or bait casting outfit. The rod that I'm holding in my hand is 8.5 feet long, and it's made by Rappel. It's called part of their North Coast series. And this particular rod is actually made for steelhead fishing in Western Canada and casting lighter spoons and spinners and using line weight anywhere from about 8 to 17-pound test. But a rod like this that's longer, and you can see that the tip, even under pressure, still has a lot of spine, is ideal if you're trolling with crankbaits or if you're bottom bouncing, because the tip is very sensitive and the rod is a little bit longer so you can get it away from the boat. So today there were 3 of us running our worm harnesses, and we were all using these longer rods, and we decided to go with bait casting reels, which is ideal to use with 10 or 15-pound braid. So the longer rod gets your line away from the boat, so if 3 people are fishing, it's very easy to set the line so that you don't have one line drifting down on top of the other. Also, a very sensitive tip, and when you get the fish, you have lots of rod to fight the fish with. So this is an excellent rod to actually troll with crankbaits or to bottom bounce using worm harnesses.